John Cooper Powys is the greatest novelist that most people have never heard of, certainly the most addictive and the most interesting. But at the same time, he's also been reviled, neglected and mostly forgotten. Now, more than ever in our disenchanted and anxious 21st century, I think we need to refine Powys and his bracing vision of the world before he runs out of readers completely. My book, Powysland, isn't a straight biography that wouldn't really suit him. Instead, it sets out to explore the places that made the man and his eccentric philosophy, which is all around the magic that can be found in everyday life, and also the importance of defying the competition and conformity of the modern world. It's also about how he managed to build up such a fanatical following over the last 100 years or so. This is one of the places of Powysland here in Cambridge, Fen, just around the corner here. It's important to Powys because it's a place where he decided exactly what kind of writer he was and wasn't going to be. He was a student here in the late 19th century at Corpus Christi College. He was due to be meeting with a well-established author, and he was dreading it. It was going to be a very formal social occasion, very stiff, very awkward, and he was going to be condescended to by this very comfortable, very smart, cynical, satirical author who knew his market and knew how to milk it. And it was while he was walking through Fen that he made that decision that he didn't want to be that kind of author at all. He wanted to write his own way about all the worlds beyond the conventional, in between all the machinery of social conventions. And it's as a result of that attitude and his philosophy that you really get this kind of divide, on the one hand between the people who saw him as a giant of literature, and on the other side, those who thought he was a bit of a nut and his work was too much to stomach. So on the one hand you have authors, and he really was an author's author, people like Thomas Mann, Herman Hesse, and more recently Ian Sinclair, Margaret Drabble, Bonner Cornwell and Philip Pullman. The American intellectual George Steiner said of one of his novels that it was the only work we have in the English language which really measures up to anything by Tolstoy or Dostoevsky. But on the other, unfortunately, you have a great big chunk of the literary establishment. So you have the reviewers, the academics, and because of that, there was no real chance of him joining in the literary canon. I've made my own travels in Powysland over the last 15 years or so, joining in with the activities of the Powys followers, visiting places that were important to him, and also trying to figure out whether or not it's possible and worthwhile to live and think like a Powysian. It's fair to say that Powys is not for you if you like your literature with its tie on straight, quite sensible and sober and proper, because Powys is wild. He's reeling and drunk, just drunk on the world in itself. So my book Powysland is for anyone who already loves Powys or would like to help him to reach new readers. And also for anybody who might be intrigued by his name and by his story, his reputation. At the same time, people who are also interested in ideas for how to define the modern world. Thanks for listening, and I hope you can help.